So as you can tell, I didn't ride. So I was going to throw my bike on the trainer, but I wanted to check the chain because I know it's getting a little stretched out. So I might need to replace it. So what I'm using is a chain checker tool, Park Tool CC 3.2 is the newest model. And basically it's just a little tool that you use to see how much stretch is in your chain. So the top side here, the one with the hole in the side, tells you your chain is just about ready to go. And you can see it lays real flat. And now if you flip it over and use the side with no dot, do the same thing. You just hook it on one link with the curved section, and then you lay it flat. And in my case, you see it is still got some life, but if I give it a little push, it sinks in. So for example, if I'm giving a really hard effort and really stomping down, it would be stretched out beyond what is recommended. So I'm going to go ahead and throw on a new chain. So I'm running Shimano components, Ultegra all the way around, but I like using the SRAM chains because they're a lot easier to put on, I think. They have these nice little quick links. So you size your chain, you pop these on just with your hands, and you don't need any special tools like this guy to connect the chain, but we will need a chain tool to size the chain properly because this is going to be a little bit long. And this is one of the better chain tools, CT 4.3, also from Park Tool. It's an 11-speed chain tool, and then it's got the little adapter for campy chains. They're 11 speeds, have really tight tolerance, so you need that little anchor. But for me, I just need this guy to pull out a pin while I size my chain. So let's go ahead and pull off our old chain. So to remove the chain, I'm going to use my chain tool. And this guy's really awesome, so I'm just going to grab a link. You can see how the tool really cradles the chain link. And then you just tighten your chain tool, spin it all the way in. So you can see the push pin is right in line with the link. And the link even has a little divot to accept the pin. And you're going to just push that pin all the way out through the other side. And what's nice about this tool is it's got its nice big handles for lots of leverage. Alright, so the pin is all the way out. And before I pull the chain tool all the way out, the chain is under tension. So what I'm going to do is just hold the rear derailleur while I remove the chain tool. And now the chain just drops, and then I'm gonna slowly just release the chain. So now you can see the chain is unattached. We're just gonna pull that off, toss it, and this is the little link that we pulled out. So just pull out your old chain, toss it in the bin. So to install our new chain, because every frame is a little different, manufacturers give you a little bit extra chain that you don't need, so we're going to need to size that. So we'll still need our chain tool to size the chain. So to install our chain, we're going to pull it out. It might be a little twisted. And then your chain should have some writing on it. So mine has SRAM written on both sides. And this chain's not directional. So some chains will actually have an arrow written on some of the links that'll point you in the direction the chain should be spinning. So this one's not directional, but I'm going to position this chain so that I can read the word SRAM visible from the top side. So I'm going to start sizing the chain. So what you're going to want to do is put the chain on your lowest gear. That's the biggest size gear in the back. And then also wrap the chain around your biggest gear in the front. So essentially you're cross chaining as much as possible. And this will ensure that your chain is as long as possible so that you can use any gear if your derailleurs allow it. So you're in the back, you're not going to run the chain through your rear derailleur. We'll get to that after we sized our chain. So what we're going to do to size it is run the links together. And you don't have to put a lot of pressure on making the links match. But what we're going to do is pull the chain tight and overlap them. So for this particular chain, because we're adding the quick links, what we're looking for is to have both of ends of the chain with just the inside link exposed. So I've lined up my chain. I figured out the smallest length that the chain should be, and I want to add 2 links, 2 full links. So this being link 0, 1, 2 links. So now I want to use my chain tool and pop out the second link. So in the same way, and like we removed the first link, line up your pin, make sure you're centered, and then give it a good yank. Twist it until it pops all the way out. And now you've removed these extra links in your chain. And basically by removing these links, you're just going to ensure that you're not going to get excess chain slap. So basically your derailleur may run out of space to fully tension the chain, and your chain will be loose while this is fully extended, meaning it can't tighten the chain anymore, and your chain will be all wobbly. You may even droop like this if you've got a smaller bike. So now we've removed that, and you can save it or toss it, that's up to you. Alright, so we sized our chain, and now it's time to add our quick links. But first, now we need to run our chain through our rear derailleur. So we should have already ran the chain through our front derailleur before we sized it, but now we need to finish up by putting it in the rear derailleur. So if you didn't track your chain before you removed it, it kind of helps sometimes to drop your rear derailleur into your highest gear, which is your fastest gear, and then you can move your chain from the largest sized gear to your smaller gear, and that can help make this process a little bit easier. So let's route our chain. So we're going to go around our top pulley. We're going to follow our chain around the bottom pulley. So you can see I ran the chain around the front of the top pulley. I followed it around the little brace to the back of the pulley, around it, and then it drops off the bottom of the. And now it's time to connect both ends together. So now, because the derailleur keeps the tension in the chain, sometimes it helps just to drop the chain, just drop it all the way as if you've got your chain dropped. And this way it'll just give you a little bit extra length in the chain and a little bit less tension on the pulley. So let's connect these bad boys together. So now I've got both bits of the chain ready to add our link. So I'm going to grab one link and add it to the back side of that link. And on the front link, I'm going to do the opposite. So instead of installing it from behind, I'm going to turn it over and install it in the front. So now you can see how this is somewhat slotted. So when you're installing the links, you want to install it so that it's on the inside of each link. So you can see I've got the bearing on the inside. So to fully tighten the chain, you're going to need to move that bearing to the very outside of the link. So there's a little trick to do that, because it can be a little hard if you don't have any special tools. So just give it a little pull so it gets stuck. Put your chain back on. You can put it in either the small or the big gear. I'm going to drop mine into the little gear since that's where it's already front derailleur is positioned to. Give it a little turn to fully seat it. And then we're going to follow this link all the way through the derailleur until it pops up right above the chainstay. So now to fully set the link, there's a little trick. So we have our link here. So I'm going to press on the rear brake, give it a nice firm press, and then grab your crank and pedal forward and give it a nice hard push. And you can hear that. It makes a nice audible sound. And what that is the bearing setting into place. Now your chain's installed. So it's not too tricky. It does take a couple specialty tools if you don't have them. Having a really good chain tool is nice. Having a nice big handle gives a little bit of leverage. Again, a nice big handle here to hold the link. And then what's nice about this tool is that it really cradles the chain nicely, so the chain doesn't twist side to side. And then if you've got a campy chain or a campy drivetrain, it's got the little anchor there. And then I like having one of these. This way I get the most life out of each chain, making sure I'm not wearing down my components prematurely. It's much easier to change a chain. That chain's about 20 bucks, so it's not too expensive. That one lasted me over 6 months, and I commute every day, so it's not an expensive purchase. I'd much rather change my chain than go through a crank or even a cassette or a real derailleur. So after you change your chain, your shifting might be a little off. The grooves in the chain that kind of wore in will be gone. So watch my other video if you need to make slight little tweaks. You shouldn't need any specialty tools. You should be able to do it just with your fingers. So let's see how our shifting is. So I gave mine a quick little adjustment. So I was having problems shifting the chain back up the cassette. So I gave my little barrel adjuster right here a little turn counterclockwise. So I wanted the chain to move into the wheel, so I turned the barrel adjuster into the wheel. Hope you enjoyed that little tutorial on how to change your chain. It can be a little tricky at first, but keep practicing and I know you get it. Get out and ride and be safe.